Hi, can I get you to say your name and media outlet for the clapper and begin your interview straight away? The room is yours.
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Shane from Triple M and 2GB and Nine Radio Network. It's really great to talk to you, mate.
You too. Pleasure to see you.
To Leslie was an amazing film, by the way, and I love Andrea Riseborough. I think she's just one of the best working actors going around.
Yes, she is. 100% she is. She's extraordinary.
So I've got to ask, how did you end up doing a Bridget Jones movie? I mean, big expectations for a very beloved franchise. How did you get handpicked for this?
Isn't that funny? You never know where life's going to take you, do you? I mean, I don't. The connections from my last film to this film, you know, they're very clear to me, but that's a very internal thing. From the outside, I can completely see what you mean. It's like, wait, what? But actually, you know, these are two. They're very different approaches to it. One's comic, obviously, one's not. But they're real life films. You know, they're both films about a flawed and human and slightly, you know, broken in places woman, both played by, you know, two of the great actresses working today, who have to sort of shake up their whole approach to life over the course of the film in order to carry on. Like, that's essentially at the heart. They're very similar. I found the project just chatting, you know, to Helen Fielding. I met Helen at dinner. You know, we turn out we have a friend in common. I didn't even know that.
Okay.
And she started to talk about this, you know, the book that it was based on and how Mark Darcy had died. And instantly I was like, oh God, this sadness is a whole new flavor in this Bridget Jones universe, because it's so frothy and delightful is what its history is.
True.
And if you want someone who's going to, like, you know, step on that, come to me. But no, I was instantly like interested in how sadness and specifically not so much sadness, because actually she's not a sad character, but how grief and moving on from grief, how it even lives in the same world as Bridget Jones. That was the beginning.
Was it a challenge to keep things fresh? I mean, it's a fourth movie, so sometimes things can get stale. So as a director, what was your challenge to just keep it upbeat and just fresh and new?
Yeah, I think if the subject matter of the film had been slightly different, it would have been an even greater challenge, because but my approach to it was not to tell jokes in the same way, because we've now been with her for 24 years. Like, none of us wanted to keep playing the hits, you know, over and over again. And so I think my, you know, just basic filmmaking approach was a bit different in this one. We were carrying the camera on our shoulders. We weren't sort of doing it in a sort of more of a traditional studio comedy way. I wanted it to feel more, you know, more grounded, like she's a real person living in a real house in a real city. And, you know, which is, you know, a different approach. Sometimes rom-coms have a sheen to them and a gloss to them, you know, which is really valuable. But in this one, I wanted it more of a matte finish, if you like.
You can answer this yes or no, I guess. Did you stay under budget?
Yes.
Good to hear.
Yes.
Good to hear.
And no reshoots and no pickups. We did it all first time out.
Oh, fantastic. What about the title, Mad About the Boy? Was there any other titles thrown up and thought about?
No, actually, in this one, no, because it's based on Helen's book, you know, of the same. So it was
Okay, fair enough. And what did you and Renee sort of develop a understanding or a shorthand while you were working together? Or, you know, just because everything's got to work and click between director and lead.
Definitely. I mean, I had the advantage, you know, of having a long time in pre-production for this. I mean, it's been about 4 years since I started to work on the film. It actually sort of really overlapped with the end of To Leslie. To Leslie hadn't actually come out when I started talking to these guys about it. So it's that long ago. And so, yeah, Renee and I developed that sort of relationship of trust. You're right. That's at the heart of everything, especially with this, because she is Bridget. Do you know what I mean? She is Bridget. And I'm so lucky that we were making the same film, meaning, like, there was never a moment when I said, oh, I want you to do this. And she would say, what? I don't understand, like, what? Because we were like, we sort of both understood every scene going into it.
Are you impressed that an actor from Texas has such a great British accent?
It's ridiculous. Like, what's amazing about her, and probably other people would say the same thing to you, is that the moment she gets off the plane at Heathrow, she is Bridget. Like, it's ridiculous. She's Bridget. she comes in as Bridget, hello, hi. Like no one on set has ever heard her speak with a Texan accent.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
100% true. And in fact, I had met her before, so I knew like who Renee actually is, but I still don't quite believe. I feel like there's a problem because she definitely feels like Bridget Jones in my mind, not Renee.
Do you know? How do you know when jokes click? Like, do you just know, or do you think, no, we want to shoot that again, or do you just know when it's worked every time?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, the most obvious one is when you're just like cracking up, and that happens quite a lot, particularly with
Sure.
Hugh. And the problem with Hugh is that there's too many jokes. You know what I mean? Like you can't use every take, and he sometimes like tries things on different takes, and you're just like, oh, these guys are really good. You have to pick one. But yeah, I mean, I think oftentimes you want to make sure because you can't go back and get it again, so you want to make sure you have enough options, enough angles to tell the joke. Yeah.
What about you? Are you a romantic at heart? Do you love romance?
I definitely am. I mean, definitely. That's why it's like it was an easier slide into this this world than it might have appeared from the outside. Because yeah, I definitely am. I think romance is it's another way of saying life, really. Like you know what I mean. Like, romance to me doesn't mean a gorgeous sunset and someone on one knee with a bunch of flowers. Like romance is just like coming home in the evening and saying what's going on. That it's just like it's the only genre that we have actually that's a proper genre, like on the side of a DVD box that actually is about real people. So I mean, I really like it for that.
Oh, I'm glad you said DVDs. I still collect physical media.
Yes, we've got to hold on to it because you never know when they delete things.
Exactly. What's the most romantic thing someone's done for you? Have you got any great stories?
Oh God, no. I mean, I tell you what though, it's not sort of conventional romance. But when I was first, I met my wife in London. She's American, but I was living in London, and we just got together, and then I now have type 1 diabetes. I didn't at the time, and I started to get all like sick, and I went to hospital. And she lived in Los Angeles, and it was a very busy person. And I called her and I said, I think I've got like this condition, and I don't think it's going away. Like I didn't understand anything about it. And she said, when did you hear? And I said, today. And she says, I'll be there tomorrow. And she literally dropped everything in her life and flew across the world without any real reason to, except to say, no, we've got to go through this together. And that to me was like, there's nothing bigger than that.
And where to for Bridget from here? Maybe a trip to, a trip to the outback, maybe?
Oh, there you go. Yes. Yeah, Bridget Outback. I like that. I go anywhere with Bridget after this because I really like, and the one thing we know from Renee is that she can keep telling these stories because she's never not going to be Bridget, right? So, maybe Helen will write another book.
And finally, to wrap it up, what do you want audiences to get out of the movie? I mean, obviously, I've seen it, so you're going to get a bit of a cry, a bit of a laugh, and the soundtrack as well. The soundtrack's really important. I really like the music choices.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. I mean, that's a huge part of the Bridget franchise, actually. And shout out to Nick Angel, who's a bit of a legend in London. He's the music supervisor, and he's been there since the very first film.
Yeah.
And together we had a lot of fun, building a soundtrack that would take people up, take people down, everywhere in between. No, I want people to have fun at the movies. I want people to go to the movies, ideally with a couple of friends, and then just like be open to her journey. Do you know what I mean? Because like she'll take you on a bit of an emotional ride if you let her in this film, and I think that would be it's cathartic to go through that.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. I'm a big romantic, so I loved your movie. Thank you very much for your time. And to Leslie, honestly, Leslie didn't get the award recognition I hoped it would.
Well, thank you. Listen, it was a massive boon for us that a film as tiny as that did manage to break through without any budget to market it. We didn't have any of this wonderful stuff, but she did get nominated, and she was really deserving of it. So anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Cheers.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, mate.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you, Shane.